Good evening and welcome to the Village Board meeting for the Village of Pleasantville. Today is Monday, October 12. If you're watching live on Monday, October 12, we encourage you to call in if you have comments or questions. Our call-in number is 769-1677. As always, you can watch us live on Verizon or Cablevision and also on a live webcast at pctv76.org. Within a few days, you can pick up an on-demand webcast of this meeting as well as all our past meetings, also at pctv76.org. Our next regular meeting is scheduled for 2 weeks from today, Monday, October 26 at 8 p.m., with a work session at 7. We began the night in an executive session talking about matters related to the farm market and the music festival, and now we're in our regular session. I have a bunch of announcements, but also would like to invite anyone who has a public comment on some subject to come and make it. Is there any public comment? We need to ask you to come to the mic and
to the podium.
let us know who you are and where you live so that we'll have the record clear. Welcome.
Forevermore.
My name is Luigi Palesci. I reside at 6 Oak Hill Circle, Pleasantville, New York. And we are here, we are petitioning the Village of Pleasantville to dedicate our road, which is Oak Hill Circle. Oak Hill Circle is half the street. It's a private road.
No,
It's a public road, actually. It's a public highway. Half of it belongs to the Mount Pleasant, and the other half belongs to the Village of Pleasantville. And we wanted to dedicate that road to Pleasantville. You know.
So you and I had this discussion on the train platform. So the issue there, and obviously we're happy to engage this discussion, but the border between the village and the town outside cuts right across the road, right?
Not exactly. It cuts right in the middle of the road.
It runs up the middle.
Sure,
So one
come on
side
up.
of the street's in Pleasantville,
Just-
the other side's in the town of Mount Pleasant.
Identify yourself for the purpose of the audience.
yes. I'm Manny Gordon, and I live up at 10 Oak Hill Circle. And I have a letter here from the town of Mount Pleasant that's self-explanatory.
Okay.
Would you like to read it?
Pass it on and give it to the mayor first.
So is the town willing to give up their half of the road? Is that what you're saying?
No, they would participate with you. You'd have to
Okay.
get the ball
So
rolling.
this is
You'd
a
have to-
letter, can I read this?
Sure, go right ahead.
To Manny Gordon from Pat Scova, Town Clerk in Mount Pleasant. I've spoken with the Superintendent of Highways, Peter Siliano, and he has informed me that Oak Hill Circle cannot become a town road until the Village of Pleasantville accepts dedication of their part of the road first. Contact the Village of Pleasantville and start there. So,
Okay, short and to the point.
That's where we are. We're starting
and
here,
how many
and
residents
Mr.
are
Palesci lives in
how many
Philly.
residents are involved?
Five total.
And is there unanimity among you about this?
Everybody wants the road dedicated, as far as I know.
So,
We have problems with the sewers. We have problems cleaning it. The road is deteriorating.
So you want us to take over the road to replace those things?
Not really for that, but
well, first off, sewer and water is still a responsibility of the municipality, even on a private road. So that isn't an issue.
So
Here.
here's what I'm confused about.
I can read this as well.
Okay.
Here's what I'm confused about, and if we take this up, which I think we are, I mean, I think we're all willing to certainly take it up and get more information on it and figure out what we're going to do, whether we're going to accept the dedication or not. That's something yet to happen. Certainly not going to happen tonight. But the kind of information I want, I'm not really understanding. It's a public access street, obviously. Anybody can drive on the
Right,
street.
that's right.
But it's privately owned? In
No,
other words,
no,
do
no.
It's a
the
private
homeowners
road.
own it?
What does that say there?
Superior Data Services of Brooklyn, is that a title search company?
Yes, they were doing title
Says-
search for Premiano, who just
Says,
sold their...
we have been advised by the Department of Highways that the above captioned street is a public street.
If it's a public street, then it's already dedicated. It may not be. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I don't know.
Well, the town of Mount
I just would
Pleasant
like to know what
indicates
the
that it's
right
not, so-
status of things
All
are
right.
now.
So obviously what we need to do here is, can we have these
Yes, of
copies?
course,
Yeah,
those
so
copies for
I'll
you.
give those to Judy Weintraub, the village clerk. Do you all have a survey of the street?
I guess I could get it.
I mean, I guess
And
my-
then also just...
we're gonna need to
another
know-
thing that...
We're going to need to know who owns it. In many cases with a private road, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, you being the
Here's
lawyer.
another thing. The town of Mount Pleasant, when I spoke to them, the superintendent of highways asked me about taxes.
Yes,
Okay, see, under town tax, or highway,
yes?
we're paying highway tax. It's included in that. And
Well-
Peter Siliani didn't even know that.
I mean, I don't know that the highway tax is broken out in town tax.
No,
But-
I was
so-
told by Vicki Anderson.
Okay,
that
how
it's
many,
part of
how
that.
many, there are 5 residents?
Yeah, 5
And
homes.
are any of them paying Village of Pleasantville property taxes?
Yes.
Right.
You
Mr.
are,
Flesch.
but not the other 4?
No, we're outside.
Because of where the line goes?
Right.
Okay. So, anything you can give us about the lay of the land would be helpful. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe.
Yeah, and we'll have our staff look into it from our
Yeah.
end as well and figure out what the status
Which
of
they
it
already
is.
have. I mean, there's some background on this already, but one question is going to be who actually owns the road?
Well, the town went there to look. Peter
Yeah.
from Department of Highways,
Yeah.
he went there, and he's the one that said to me, he researched it, he looked, half of it is in the village, the other half
But
is in...
that doesn't
Who
mean
plow-
that we
who
own it.
plows your road?
Private, we pay.
You pay to
I've been
get
paying
your-
for
your
25
road
years, and I'm a
plowed.
little tired.
So-
And you're on well, or you're on town
I
water?
have town.
You're both on town water? You're on town
Mount Pleasant
water.
or Pleasantville?
Pleasantville.
You're on the village water
I
and you're
pay
on town
village-
water?
No, I
Right.
pay village.
Right, because we
Water
do that.
tax.
We
We
have certain
provide the
districts
water,
where we
right.
sell
Certain-
water outside
certain
the
districts.
village because
I
it's
get
just the way the
billed from
pipes
the
work,
village.
you know.
Okay.
Like-
Okay. So, whatever you have in the way of surveys, that, I mean, in the end, it's going to have to be determined whether, as is the case, again, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, in some private roads, the adjacent homeowners own to the middle of the road.
Right, you typically, a homeowner owns to the middle of the road unless the road is dedicated. If the road is dedicated, then it's the road itself and some area adjacent to the road for a right-of-way is owned by the municipality, whether it's a town or the village,
Right.
one way or the other. That's typically how it goes. If that's not the case, if that road has never been dedicated,
It's never been dedicated.
then you all own to the center of the road. Your property actually goes to the center of the road.
That's
Now,
possible.
and so a lot depends on that, but also one of the things I'm interested in, if we accept dedication, when a developer builds a road, and it's going to be a dedicated road, he wants to make it, he's building a cul-de-sac with a subdivision, let's say. That road's got to meet certain standards. It's got to be certain width.
It's not
gotta
the
meet
right
fire.
width, I can
It's gotta
tell you
be-
right now.
It's got
It
to
was
be able to
looked
get
at
fire
from the
trucks
highway
down there.
department.
No,
Peter that was
but what
there.
Joe is saying is it has to.
We need certain standards, and I don't know if
It's not a 20, it should be 24 foot.
the road could be maybe widened, maybe it could be made wide enough. I don't know, or big enough. We need to know that as well. What the physical configuration of the road is to see if it meets or exceeds or is possible for dedication because it meets requirements. We have requirements for
Oh,
dedicated
could you
roads.
give me a list of what those
It's in, I'm sure it's in our
requirements
code. I couldn't recite it to you here, but I'm sure we
and
have
we'll
it.
get to that. I think the first, I mean, we have some other circumstances where the village, for example, owns the first 50 feet of a road and then the town of Mount Pleasant thereafter. And it gets a little complicated from the standpoint of maintenance and all that. But I don't think, although we have some cross agreements about who'll plow and who'll
Right.
do what, in the end, the road, we can't dedicate a road that's not in the village, and they can't dedicate a road that's not in the town outside. So I think,
Well, they said they would work with the
right,
village.
right. But then we're into the circumstance of exactly where the border is, and we need to understand that, and whether the road needs work, and whether it's appropriately
Well,
built.
Peter seemed to know.
Yeah.
From the highway.
So what
Yeah.
you're looking
Okay.
to accomplish is for at the end of the day, for the town to own the road or the village?
I don't know.
Oh,
Well, it's going to be both, I think, right?
Yeah, it would be both. The town's telling me, you have to start at the village because the first home is in the village.
that may be true. That may be true. So
All right.
we need
We
to
get
through
the
that.
town, the village to agree, then they would go forward to,
So we'll,
you know, do the second half.
Jeff Econom, our DPW superintendent and town engineer, will take a look as well, talk to
Okay.
Pete Ciliano, and we will get back to you.
Okay, that'd be great.
We'll
Do you have your
gather.
contact information on?
I have Manny's contact
You have-
info.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very
right?
much.
You're that first house,
Yeah,
right?
I'm the first one, big
Okay.
house.
So the line, that house, and that house are, you guys are all in Mount Pleasant, right?
Correct,
Pleasantville's the shaded portion. I just want to make sure I have the bearings,
that's correct.
right?
Then
Okay.
my house falls in the shaded portion.
And you're right there.
I even think two of the homes, the Premiano house that was just sold recently, And the Palmer home, I think the first part of their property is in the village.
Yeah, like this house right here is cut right in half.
Yeah, part of it, but they don't pay village taxes.
Okay.
They've told me that their first little part.
They're
is
considered Mount Pleasant. Okay.
Right.
Well, in theory, anyone who has a piece of
Right.
property should be paying
Should be
village
paying
taxes,
village
even if it's a
taxes.
very small amount.
You didn't
We
tell
didn't-
us.
we didn't-
All right, thank you for your time.
Okay,
Thanks
thank
a
you
lot.
very much.
We'll get back to you.
A couple of
Okay.
things, but it's all on record, so.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you guys,
very much.
appreciate it.
Okay.
Any other comments?
And you do have my comment.
I do, I have it.
Let's go Mets.
Yes.
All right, let's go Mets. Is there any other comment from the public? Again, our call-in number is 769-1677. I had a raft of announcements to make. The first was the police chief, Richard Love, Jeff Econom, our DPW superintendent, and I attended a county emergency planning exercise a couple of weeks ago, which was an annual event that focuses on different kinds of emergency episodes that we might all collectively have to deal with. A useful event, to say the least, but it reminds me again that as we approach the fall storm season, everybody should sign up for our Code Red emergency notification system. Go to pleasantville-ny.gov, our village website. On the left-hand column, click on subscribe to Code Red, and it will give you an opportunity to fill in email addresses, landline phones, cell phones, whatever mechanism you want to use for us to reach you in an emergency. It is a system that we will only use for emergency notifications. We'll never use it for anything else. We're not going to use it to remind you of water bills. It is solely for the purpose of emergency notifications. It's filling a gap we and many other communities realized we had after Superstorm Sandy, when many people were out of power. A lot of landline phones weren't working, and it was difficult to keep people in the loop. So I beseech you to sign up for Code Red. It is a great service, and one that will allow, for example, people who actually live outside the village of Pleasantville but have concerns, for example, about a relative for whom they have some responsibility who lives here. You too can sign up and get all of that. So pleasantville-ny.gov, sign up for Code Red. Congratulations to the farm market for another great season, which continues outside and will wind down just before Thanksgiving, before it moves into the middle school. But this past weekend was the annual apple pie contest, and it was a great event, as it is every year. All kinds of people make various kinds of apple pies and apple desserts, and it was a great event. Congratulations to the winners. Congratulations to the farm market, and what a happy event all the way around. I think a lot of people had a very good time enjoying the pie, which was sliced up and sold at a modest cost as a fundraiser for the farm market. A couple of events coming up to remind everybody. Our annual Ragamuffin Parade is on Halloween this year. Very nice confluence of events that the Saturday of the parade is also Halloween. That is a lineup at 10:30. Parade kicks off at 11 o'clock. A great landmark Pleasantville day. Just before that is the Tina Gambino Memorial 5K Run.
so glad
A
you mentioned
great fundraising event for an organization that couldn't be more Pleasantville. So get yourself to tinagambino.org, both for more information and to sign up. It's a 5K fun run, but also a 5K fun walk. You don't have to run, you can walk, and you can also participate.
It's so much fun. It's
As-
such a great day.
As a sponsor, even if you would like to sit in a lawn chair and watch everyone. So
I've seen Trustee Stargiati on his front porch.
I watch.
all right, tinagambino.org. That's also on the 31st of October. This past Wednesday night in this room, Trustee Colleen Wagner had organized a session on the subject of emergency services and their response to and capacity to assist people with special needs. It was an interesting evening, attended by State Senator Terrence Murphy, by our County Legislator Smith, by Assemblyman Top Avenanti, representatives of the Pleasantville Volunteer Ambulance Corps, Pleasantville Fire Department, and the Mount Pleasant Police Department. We had people here from the District Attorney's Office, so it was a very, very useful event, and it was taped, and you'll be able to see it on pleasantville-ny.gov. I encourage anyone with an interest in those subjects to get to it, to take a look. Can also report, which perhaps has already been reported but worth repeating, Pleasantville Strong, the new drug and alcohol abuse coalition that has been created here in Pleasantville, as you may have heard over the past few months, put together a grant application and was successful in receiving a 5-year federal grant at $125,000 per year. So that is a great, happy piece of news.
We did that last meeting, and Patty explained it.
So grant coordinator is going to be hired, and an RFP for people who might be interested has been circulated. It was homecoming weekend a couple of weekends ago, and the Rotary Club ran their annual pancake breakfast up at the middle school. Striking change of pace with the option of blueberry pancakes. With Mike Brooks, who from Guyan Agency, who's one of the core people at the Rotary Club, said, "Okay, blueberry, but we draw the line at chocolate chip." So there was a big crowd, really a nice thing to see. It was a bit of a foul day from a weather standpoint, which benefited perhaps the pancake breakfast. So thanks to everybody for supporting that, and thanks to the Rotary Club for the hard work they put into that and the good work they do with the money that was raised. Later on in the day, as many of you already know, the homecoming football game, normally at Parkway Field, was moved by the school district over to Pace, which was unhappy to the extent that people love to play in their home venue, but it was really a nice opportunity to see the much improved facilities over at Pace, the brand new turf field, the new stadium they have built. So thanks, as we often find ourselves thanking Pace University for the many supports they give us. Thanks for that. And it is worth anybody who's interested getting yourself over to Pace to see the remarkable transformation going on at that campus. They opened this fall a brand new dormitory. We'll be opening another one next fall, have made a major investment in the campus that I think collectively will be over $100 million, including new sports facilities, new turf baseball field, new turf football field, a new field house, and athletic facility that is within a few months of completion. So amazing stuff going on at Pace at the Pleasantville campus, and I encourage everybody to get over and take a look. And then lastly, the Fancher Nickel American Legion Post will be having a fundraiser chili dinner that takes place at Holy Innocents on the evening of Saturday, October 24. Always a fun time. They have a bunch of people who are extraordinarily good at making chili. They'll have a vegetarian option for anyone who is looking for that, and I'm informed that the version of the chili that had some bacon grease in it was a particular hit last year. For those who are more interested in how it tastes, then I guess whether it's all that good for you, but a great event. So American Legion Chili Dinner, Holy Innocents Hall, Social Hall, October 24th. And then the last thing I wanted to mention, as I think perhaps has already been mentioned but worth repeating, is that we recently celebrated the retirement of Andy Foca, who has been our mechanic and lead mechanic here in the village of Pleasantville down at the Village Garage for 34 years. He's done an extraordinarily good job for us. He'll still be around the village of Pleasantville, still providing maintenance services for the volunteer fire department. But congratulations to Andy Foca on time well spent and service well delivered for everybody who lives here in Pleasantville, New York. Have I sucked the air out of the room? Does anyone else have anything to say?
I'm good.
Any other announcements?
Not for me.
Oh, come on. You don't want to say anything about the Mets?
Go Mets.
Go ahead,
That's all.
All
Can
right.
we start?
There's a game tonight.
With that, we'll go to the resolutions.
resolutions.
169, Steve.
Resolved that pre-check register dated October 12th, 2015, covering pre-check numbers 81625 through 81771 has been reviewed, and they are hereby approved as listed below. From the general fund, the water fund, the refuse fund, the pool fund, and from the pool fund, for a total of $165,481.09.
Is there a second?
Second?
Comments or questions about the check register?
Were we just not spending anything from those other two accounts this time, or were they not compiled?
appears.
or-
Yeah, I mean, that happens sometimes.
That
It does.
Especially
It
at
hasn't
capital.
happened since I've been
Yeah.
on the board, so
Yeah.
I found that out. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. 170, Mindy.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees has reviewed the minutes of the meeting held on Monday, December 22nd? No.
September 21.
September 21.
Why do I have December 22nd? Am I totally in the, on September 21st, 2015, and they are hereby approved. Did I totally pull up the wrong?
It is October.
I know, that's why I was like, wait a second.
Yeah. No, it's correct in the PDF.
I second that.
I have,
Yeah.
The motion
okay,
that she
thank
read.
you.
Are there any comments or corrections on the minutes?
Regular meeting agenda. Oh, I know why it's wrong.
Have you found it?
Yeah, I will find it. But,
Comments?
Oh,
All right.
okay.
Comments and corrections on the minutes?
Nope.
Those minutes include, that was a meeting when I was absent. Mindy swore in 2 officers. Our current police officer, Sam Kakamis, promoted to the position of sergeant, and a new police officer coming here to Pleasantville, Dave Cassell, appointed as a police officer. So congratulations to both, and look for them.
And Mindy did a
on the streets.
spectacular job chairing the meeting. I just wanted to
I
let you
have
know that.
every confidence.
thank you very much.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion approved. Joe, 171.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby adopts the Police Department's Policy and Procedure Manual 2015 version, sections 101 through 125.
Is there a second?
Second?
What this reflects is a substantial rewrite of the policy and procedures book that the police department operates under. This has been in the works for quite a long time, involving looking at the policies and procedures in other Westchester departments. The police chief has forwarded this to us with his recommendation that we approve it, just so you have a sense of what's involved. There are many subsections, but the major sections are, hold on a sec, I just hit the wrong button. Organization, duties and responsibilities, uniforms and equipment, regulations, use of force and weapons, human resources, discipline, training, patrol operations, complaints, summonses, arrests, prisoners' property, court, aided cases, automobile accidents, special department units and vehicles, unusual occurrences, criminal investigations, department property, records management, public relations, internal affairs. Those are the categories covered in a document that at the moment runs to several hundred pages. So, any comments or?
I had one quick question. When the chief briefed us on this, we had talked to him about creating this in a little bit easier of a format, remember?
Yes.
Is that gonna happen?
It's now all in one PDF, and what we're up for tonight is simply to approve the
I know, I was just
content,
wondering,
but
I was
yes.
curious where that
His-
stood,
his-
because it's very
His
unusual.
goal is for everybody to have a copy of it and to have a copy of it on all the cards, so we have a significant goal to get this down to fewer pages in a tighter format.
Yeah, because it was
Yes.
1 page per
Still,
subset, basically.
still in play, so. Further comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. 172, Steve.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby suspends parking meter fees for the time allowed on 1, 2, and 3 hour meters from November 26, 2015 through December 26th for the 2015, obviously, for the holiday season.
Is there a second?
Second?
Annually, at the request of the Chamber of Commerce, we have offered free parking. Again, only 1, 2, and 3 hour meters, not at 12-hour meters, from the Thanksgiving weekend through the day after Christmas. Time limits still apply, so we will chalk tires during that time period, but you do not have to feed the meters. They'll have happy holiday hoods on them. All in favor?
I have a comment.
Yeah.
So, I've always wondered, and I know it has to do with money, but why don't we run this through January 2nd? That week is a holiday week, and listen, I'm going to vote yes on it. I'm glad we do it, but I do think we.
Well-
it'd be nice. I think residents like it, and people
Yeah.
do come into the village,
I mean-
and it's a holiday season, and I think people would like to have it through
The
January.
Chamber
2nd.
would love that comment.
It's a significant financial loss to the village Obviously, we do it because we're trying to promote the downtown. I will say, and further to a discussion in work session hereafter, including an article we have, free parking often produces unintended results, and I can tell you because my day job office at 42 Wheeler gives me a bird's eye view of Wheeler Avenue. The day the free parking is put in effect, the supply of parking dwindles.
It evaporates. Yes, that's true.
So I understand the sentiment. I would not be in favor of extending it through New Year's, although I know many store owners would like it. And I think I've talked to many of them about it. The feeling is that the zen associated with free parking sort of overcomes the fact that it's more crowded and harder to find a space. So I get that and I accept their argument, but I wouldn't be inclined to make
Then the question
take another hit.
that gets begged for me is then why do we do it at all?
Well,
it hurts parking, and we're doing it for a month.
We do it because the Chamber of Commerce and their members feel very strongly that it's a benefit to them.
And we just always,
Right.
over the years, we always played with the time span. This is one of the longer ones that we've done.
True.
And it's a great benefit for our businesses and the people that come and shop here. And we want people to come and shop here during the holiday season. And that's why we do it.
Well, I'm going to certainly vote yes, but I next year perhaps I would like to see it. We should have a conversation. I'd like to learn
We
more about
discussed it last year. We discussed it
I wasn't
last meeting.
No, but not this specific issue of holiday parking.
No, we did. It was in our work session agenda. It was on our work session.
I was here. We did.
Yeah, we talked about it. And nobody had a problem with it.
Well, regardless of whether
But usually the chamber comes in and they do talk.
I feel like
but
I missed it. Okay.
Yeah.
So
it was-
the
you
bottom
remember?
line is, there are some countervailing arguments, but we are definitely in partnership with the many good things the chamber does, and want the merchants to understand that we seek to support their success. They view this as part of that, and so we take a bit of a financial hit to do it.
That's why I support it. You're
And
right.
that's why
You're
I
right about
support
that.
it. I will say there are, there's some cognitive dissonance that goes on in all of that, but I think we should do it. So,
Good.
Any further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. 173, Mindy.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the request from the Recreation Department to hold the annual Ragamuffin Parade on Saturday, October 31st, 2015 at 11 a.m., and further authorizes the police chief to post no parking signs in the Memorial Plaza parking lot in advance of the event and to tow all vehicles in violation of this temporary parking restriction.
Is there a second?
Second.
Judy, do you know the answer to the farm market arrangement that day?
No, I don't.
Last year, the farm market, I think, set up and continued to operate, even though they didn't have the parking at the south end.
Yeah, I think they
They
coexisted. Yes.
They
And I
still have
assume-
the farmer's market.
I assume
still
that's
have the
still
market.
the case, although
Yeah,
the supply of
people just
parking
won't be able to pull into the
Right.
lot.
will be
Right.
substantially reduced. So,
But it's
all
really
right.
good market.
Right.
yeah.
And that's also the day of the Tina
race.
Gambino race, starts at 9 over at the high school.
So you can run over
You
to
can.
the Macaragua Parade.
And a lot of people do.
Parade down to Memorial Plaza and then buy stuff at the farm market. So,
It's a great day.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. 174, Joe.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees, based upon the recommendation of Village Attorney Judson Siebert, hereby approves the following certiorari settlement for Rex Realty, 54-64 Washington Avenue, Sections 106.6, Block 1, Lots 48 and 48.1 as follows. For the year 2010, a reduction from an assessment of $234,525 to $156,000, a reduction of $78,525. For the year 2011, a reduction in the assessment from $234,525 to $172,800, a reduction of $61,725. And for the year 2012, a reduction of the assessment from $234,525 to $164,350. That's a reduction of $70,175, which results in a tax reduction of $8,000, or a tax refund to that applicant of $8,914.44 for those years. And further resolved, the village treasurer is hereby authorized to issue the applicable refund in the amount of $8,914.44 to the petitioner's attorney upon receipt of an executed order from the court.
Is there a second?
Second.
So this is backed up by a confidential memo from our attorney at Keenan Bean describing the details of this, which I find convincing.
Me as well. Sure.
I read it. It's
Right.
very convincing.
Any further comment?
Word.
Yeah, I would just for the benefit, I think, of the public who may not understand our taxing. We have a taxing format in our state where assessments remain the same, but of course values either go up or go down depending on the market. They typically go up. And then the state applies an equalization rate to the existing, the state does, they create the equalization rate to the existing assessment, which gives you a theoretical value. And over time, frequently with commercial properties, the actual value is less than the theoretical value. So the incorrect assessment is typically not based on the fact that in the year 2009, for example, it was an incorrect assessment. The assessor didn't do anything wrong and didn't make a mistake. The problem really is with our taxing system, and just by the passage of time alone, if you apply the state's equalization rate, typically you get a lower value than the actual value, so it results in what would be considered an unequal assessment. And I know that's a little bit complex for people to understand, but I just want to make the point that it's not that our assessor assessed this property wrong. There was a correct assessment in 2009. In 2010, 11, and 12, because of the changes in the equalization rate given down by the state, it resulted in that assessment that was fine in 2009 was too high in 2010 and 11 and 12. And that's why we have these types of tax certiorari's and why they result in refunds sometimes.
Further, in this case, there was a negotiation involving some other matters as well.
That I'm not familiar with.
All convincing. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Steve, 175.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to sign the agreement with Maurice Rangel, am I saying that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wrangle.
336 East 22nd Street, New York, New York, for planning services for the relining of the wading pool at the pool complex.
Is there a second?
That's the kiddie pool.
Yes.
Second? Yeah.
Second.
Maurice Rangel has worked with us in the past. He's a registered landscape architect and a person with special focus on pool facilities. He's given us a proposal to consult in connection with refinishing the wading pool. That sounds like a simple task, but it turns out to involve quite a bit of specialized knowledge in health department filings and engineering drawings and the like. So he has given us a proposal dated October 1 for pre-construction services, review of conditions, producing a project manual and bid package, etc., and then a series of services during and after construction, the net result of which is a fixed fee of $5,250 plus reimbursable expenses. Any comments or questions?
Do you know roughly what that's going to cost in total?
I believe that
$5,400.
No, not all of it.
you mean the actual relining, I think was in the neighborhood of 20,000.
20, right?
Right.
Well, I think that's high.
Is it?
Yeah, because we had the other, the maintenance of the pools every year is quite dramatic, and we had the main pool relined. How many years ago was that now?
Probably 10?
Right.
No, really?
I'm guessing.
When I was
that
when
way.
I was on the board the last time, when I was on 2008, I left the board.
Okay, so 7 years.
Yeah,
All right,
something,
well, around
whatever.
there.
Yeah.
And it's really a great. You don't have to. It really contributes to the life of the pool and so on. And we've been trying to do this for the kiddie pool, which we've had some issues with. Unfortunately, anytime you make any adjustment to a pool, it requires Board of Health notifications and approvals. There's also special drains that have to be put in now because of acts that have been passed due to safety precautions in pools. So all of these things have to be included in it. It's an expensive process, but in the long run, it pays off.
I agree. Comments or other further comments? All in favor? Aye. Motion approved. 176, Mindy.
And I'm honored to be able to read this resolution. Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby accepts a donation from Nick and Kathy Antonaccio in memory of Angelo Nona in the amount of $100 toward Clinton Street Center Senior Center programs.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you very much to the Antonaccios, and a nice way to remember Angelo, who was John Nona's father, passed away a month or so ago, and who had been a core participant in those programs down at Clinton Street.
He sure was. Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Joe, 177.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the following budget amendments. $14,584 from contingent to mechanic payout sick time. $15,596 from contingent to mechanic payout vacation buyback. $16,300 from after-school outside services to after-school part-time. $3,634 from contingent to refuse mechanic payout sick time. And $4,193 from contingent to refuse mechanic vacation buyback, for a total of $54,318 being shifted from certain budget lines to another. And then also to increase the street resurfacing project by Con Ed share at Skytop Drive, a transfer in the amount of $60,293.44 from miscellaneous revenues to street resurfacing.
Is there a second?
Second.
The last item, Con Edison, as we all know painfully, has been in the midst of ripping up streets in quite a few places in the village to make needed improvements to the gas infrastructure in the streets, but it has left a series of problems, and our DPW superintendent has been chasing Con Edison in many places. But the other aspect of this that we work, I think, productively with Con Edison is when they're going to dig up a road and are therefore responsible for repairing and resurfacing it, we frequently will adjust our schedule for the repaving of the areas immediately around it in order to take advantage of the work that's already going on. So that took place up at Skytop, and I thank you, Jeff Econom, for seizing the day, not only in keeping track of what Con Ed was doing and making sure they fulfill the standards that we expect, but also working collaboratively with them. So, comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. 178, Steve.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby accepts the letter from Robert Bertram resigning from his position as motor equipment operator effective September 30, 2015.
All in favor? I'm sorry, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. 179, Mindy.
Whereas Michael Newman was appointed to the position of recreation leader on September 22nd, 2014, and completed his probationary period. And whereas Michael Newman has taken and passed the civil service test for recreation supervisor, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees, based upon the recommendation of Linda Bellafato, Superintendent of Recreation, hereby appoints Michael Newman to the position of recreation supervisor effective October 12th, 2015 at a salary of $52,937, and further resolve that the appointment is subject to the rules and regulation of Westchester County Department of Civil Service. That includes a probationary period of not less than 12 weeks to a maximum of 52 weeks.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mike has been with us several years now and has advanced twice, and we are pleased to have this opportunity to advance him again. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. 180, Joe.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees, based upon the recommendation of the police chief, hereby appoints Shaquita Truss to the position of parking enforcement officer / school crossing guard effective October 27, 2015 at a salary of $42,544. Said appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 12 weeks to a maximum of 52 weeks.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have 2 slots for parking enforcement officers and relief crossing guards, and we had a retirement some months ago, and 1 post has been empty. This appointment gives us someone to occupy that spot, which was already in the budget. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Is there any new business? Further comment from the public? I had 2 things to mention in closing. One is we all received tonight the audit from our auditors for the year ended May 31, 2015, the end of our fiscal year, which runs from June 1 to May 31. The folks at O'Connor Davies, our auditors, will come and present that audit at some point in the near future, but those of you who are interested in the finances of the village will get that audit up on the web.
I think they're scheduled for the next meeting.
And I encourage you to watch the agenda. It may be the next meeting when they come to hear the details. And then lastly, I wanted to comment that as those of you who live or drive down Washington Avenue are already well aware, the folks at Toll Brothers are well along with the site work at the former office park, now being developed as a Toll Brothers townhouse complex. A number of people have asked me questions about what was being built there, and it turns out that there is some misinformation about what it is. So Toll Brothers will be demolishing the two office buildings. I'm not sure if they're down yet. They weren't when I drove by last week, but they're working on it.
Today, I walked past them.
They were down?
They were not.
They were not down yet. So that's coming soon, but they're doing the site work, building the roads, entries, retaining walls, et cetera. There's a substantial planting plan that will be in front of the retaining walls, not only to create a better streetscape, but also to shield the new residents from the road as well. The project is 68 townhome units. They'll be sold as fee simple homes. That is the form of ownership, just like a single-family house. They're not condos or co-ops. We are not yet been told what the price point will be, but we expect that these are fairly big and fairly expensive units, total of 68 of them, and it will be I think a very positive addition to the tax base in Pleasantville and a very positive addition to the range of housing options offered. One of the pieces that's of special interest to people is that about half the units have the living accommodations on the first floor. So there's a living room, kitchen, dining room, and a master suite on the first floor with other bedrooms upstairs. That is a popular format for empty nesters. The kids have gone. You can move into a setting like that, which is not only a nice way to live in many people's view, but also a great context for aging in place. So you'll see a lot more progress on that. Anybody who is interested in those units, I know the village office has a phone number for Toll if anyone's interested in exploring further the possibility of buying a unit there. So anybody else?
Nope.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Good night.
Thank you. Good night. See you in 2 weeks.